Hi friends, this video is going to be both about multiplying fractions, and if you fast forward a little bit, you'll notice that there's also a piece on dividing fractions. So feel free to pick and choose which part of the video you need the most or are interested in the most. Uh, let's start, however, with multiplying fractions because it's a part of the process that you need for dividing fractions too. So when we multiply fractions, the important thing to remember is that we need to have both of our fractions or both of our terms in fraction form. So if we have a whole number, like -3, or I should say an integer, right? Uh, Remember that that's always going to be written as something over 1. So I'm going to rewrite this fraction, and I'm going to keep the signs with my numerator um, if I have sort of a sign on a fraction. So I have -3 over 1 times +4 over 9. So the second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look and see if there's any factors anywhere on the numerator or numerators that can simplify with any factors on the denominator. So for example, 3 is 3 times 1, and 4 is 2 times 2. And so looking at the bottom, 1 isn't going to simplify anything really, but 9 is 3 times 3. And so there's a factor of 3 here, and there's a factor of 3 up here in the numerator. So I can divide both of these by 3. So -3 divided by 3 is -1. So I'm going to sort of write -1 up there as my result. And 9 divided by 3 is +3. So now I can check, there's nothing, the 1 and the 4 won't simplify. I can also check straight up and down in a fraction. So like 1 and 1, those are as simple as they'll get, but 4 and 3, no, there's nothing there I can simplify. So now I can multiply straight across. So I have -1 times 4. So I'm going to multiply, let me rewrite that first. So I've got -1 over 1 times, and I'm going to switch my time sign to a dot here, times 4 over 3. So I'm going to multiply just straight across. -1 times 4 is -4, and 1 times 3 is +3. And we're going to leave our answers as improper for now. And I shouldn't need to simplify anymore because I've already canceled everything I could. Let's try another example like that. So here the 5x is not in fraction form, so I'm going to put it in fraction form by putting it over 1. So 5x divided by 1 times negative, I'm going to give the sign to the numerator. Okay. -13 over 15x. Then I'm going to check if there's anything I can cross cancel, or cancel straight up and down. So 13 and 1, nope. 5x and 15x, oh sure. So let's start with the number here. So 5 and 15 share a factor of 5, so I can divide that by 5, and I can divide this by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, 15 divided by 5 is 3. And then I also have this factor of x, because this is 5 times x and this is 15 times x. So x divided by x is 1, and x divided by x is 1. So let's rewrite that so we're clear. So I have 1 times 1, or 1, over 1, times -13 over 3 times 1, or 3. All right, well, that's already pretty simplified. So now if I multiply straight across, that gives me -13 over 3, and that's my solution. Okay. Ooh, what if we get something really exciting like this thing? Well, let's just follow the same steps. Let's just rewrite it with the signs in the numerator. Remember that this is 3 times x times y, so those are factors, over 2 times y, times negative 2x, which is negative 2 times x, over 7 times x times y squared. Well, remember that if we have y squared, we're really saying it's y times y. So now I'm going to get my simplifying pen out, and I'm going to see, is there anything I can simplify? All right. Well, hey, look at these numbers. There's a 2 in the denominator and a negative 2 on the top, so I can divide those both by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. Negative 2 divided by 2 is 1. Look up and down here, straight up and down, there's a y and a y. So I could divide this y and this y by y, and they'll each become 1. Here's an, oh, look, there's, okay, so I could either cross cancel or there's one here. Remember, for every one that I cancel on the top, I have to have one that cancels in the bottom. So here's an x, and here's an x, so I could divide those both by x, so that would give me 1. And this would give me 1. Oh, I think I'm going to need to rewrite this before I can go any further, because it's getting a little, there's a lot going on here. So let's rewrite this. We've got negative 3x divided by 1 times 1, that's 1, times negative, oh, I made a mistake here. Nobody told me I made a mistake here. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Hopefully you caught that mistake. So I have negative 1 times 1, which is negative 1, over 7 times y, which is 7y squared. So now let's just do another check, right, that there's nothing I can divide, or nothing I can simplify, and now I'm just going to multiply straight across. Negative 3x times negative 1, and negative times negative is a positive, so that's positive 3x divided by 7y squared. All right. Here's the moment you've been waiting for. Here's the division part of this video. So remember that to divide a fraction, you have to multiply by the reciprocal of that second fraction. So you're going to flip the second fraction. And when you flip it, it becomes, the division sign becomes a multiplication sign, because it's multiplying by the reciprocal is how you divide. So I'm going to rewrite the first fraction exactly the way I see it, 3a over 2. I'm going to change that sign to a multiplication sign, and I'm going to take the reciprocal of this sign. I see a negative here, so I'm going to put that negative on the numerator. And now I'm going to flip the fraction, so 3a over 1. I'm going to check if there's anything that I can simplify. Doesn't look like there's anything I can cross cancel here, so I'm going to multiply straight across. 3a times negative 3a is negative 9a times a, or a squared. 2 times 1 is 2. And that's my answer. Let's try that one more time, just to see sort of how this goes. So remember that I'm going to rewrite the first one, 11 over 77. I'm going to change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and I'm going to flip the second fraction. There's a negative sign here, so the negative sign is going to go on the top, and then I'm going to flip the fraction. So 7 over 3. Now, is there anything I can cross cancel on this one? Oh, look, there is. So 77 and negative 7 are both divisible by 7. So I'm going to divide that by 7, and I'm going to divide that by 7. Negative 7 divided by 7 is negative 1. 77 divided by 7 is 11. And if you have a really good eye here, you might notice that I have an 11 over an 11. It might take you a second to rewrite it. So let's rewrite this one real quick so we just see it a little bit easier. We have 11 in the numerator, 11 in the denominator, and I'm multiplying that by negative 1 over 3. So you might notice that you can simplify again, because 11 I can divide by 11 to give me 1. And this 11 I can also divide by 11 to give me 1. So that's really, I'm going to come up here into this extra space here, 1 over 1 times negative 1 over 3, and now multiply straight across. There's nothing else to simplify. I'm pretty simplified here. So that's just negative 1 over 3. All right. I hope that helps, and we will do some practice problems to check your understanding, and I will see you again in class. Thanks.